Hey guys, welcome to part 3. The final card dump has happened, so we're going to go through the remaining cards. Now there's a lot of them, so we'll try being a little more speedy this time. The other two parts were, I imagine, quite a bit shorter because we had fewer cards, but there's a lot to look at now, so we're going to speed run them, which means we might get some wrong, but, you know, speed round can be fun as well. We left off at the final showdown last time, so let's start here. Wicker Claw. Zoom in a little bit. Okay. Wicker Claw, Druid Minion, 2 mana 1/4 Beast. Okay, Living Seed synergy. After your hero gains attack, this minion gains +2 attack. And that seems permanent. Interesting. So this is more support for the gain attack, the quest, that kind of direction. Pounce is playable, so you could immediately have a 2 mana 3/4. Otherwise, you have to set this up on 2 and then play it on 3. Or Living Seed on 2 and then go this for 1 mana on 3 plus hero power, which is probably the curve they're trying to push. This doesn't seem that crazy. I mean, from what we know about Druid anyways, this is not really the direction they want to go. But that's a chonker. That's a lot of health. So maybe it's good. This also works with the other Druid minion we saw in our last thingy, the Org of Loon, but that's kind of slow. I don't think we really want to set that up. Okay, this is... I think this is actually a decent minion. I don't know if it's going to see play. It depends if the Druid archetype there is actually playable, but this is actually a decent card for what it is. It's a bit of a chonker. It's not bad. And the Beast synergy could help too. Playable, but probably niche. Void Touched Attendant. 1 mana 1/3. Priest minion. Both heroes take 1 extra damage from all sources. Interesting. My instinct is that this is poop, but I haven't seen all the other priest cards. Maybe there's enough support that this is actually good. If you're going for some type of burn priest, this would be insane, right? But I don't see how much burn priest really has, outside of obviously the shadow form hero power that we've seen in Benedictus from one of the previous reviews. So the effect can be definitely powerful, but I don't know if this is playable by itself just yet, so we'll see. Void Shard. Pre-spell. Okay, hey, look, damage. 4 mana spell, Void Shard. Lifesteal, deal 4 damage. And this can go face as well. This is a decent card. So Penance dealt 3, but it couldn't go face. So the fact that this can go face is a big deal. Palm Reading is also playable, so it can be discounted because you'd be running Palm Reading in this type of deck anyways. This card's pretty good. I don't know if this fits in all types of priests because it is a little slow in terms of damage efficiency. But in a more aggressive Burny type priest, maybe not aggressive, but in a more burn style priest, you actually absolutely would run this because you can use it for control as well. Tools that you can use to control the board and also closing out the game are quite powerful historically, and I assume this would not be an exception. This is a good card. Vibrant Squirrel. It's so happy. Vibrant Squirrel. 1 mana 2/1 Beast. Death Rattle. Shuffle 4 acorns into your deck. When drawn, summon a 2/1 Squirrel. 4 is a lot. The thing is, in this type of deck, how are you cycling that aggressively? Right? Compare this to something like Ticketmaster, and we don't really see Ticketmaster. It popped up once or twice in some of the rogue decks, but not really the best inclusion. And this is kind of that effect as well. Now, this is in Druid, so does Druid have more consistent card draw? There's more token payoffs. You can run Soul of the Forest, Arbora, Pride's Fury, stuff like that, but I don't know if you can run this in that kind of deck because those kind of decks historically have been running Fungal Fortunes. And I think if you take out Fungal Fortunes, you lose some of the card draw. So I think the effect is good, but I'm not sure if this actually fits into the deck. Interesting, but I don't think this is actually that playable in Constructed anyways. Twilight Deceptor, 2 mana 2/3 Priest minion. Battlecry, if any hero took damage this turn, draw a Shadow spell. Wow. Okay, this is pretty good. So this is really interesting. This is really good. One of my concerns about Shadow Priest was that you just wouldn't have enough card draw, and this gives you that. And the Shadow Priest kind of playstyle would be, as an example, ping, do something, slowly ping them down over time with your hero power. And this helps with that because you would go like ping, draw a card, draw a Shadow spell. It's random though, you don't get to choose it, but still, this is a good card. This is a good card. Now, if it's any hero took damage, not if any hero had health gain or like a health change. So it specifically has to be something ping related. So you pretty much have to run this in Shadowform Priest. You can run it in a Priest with Raised Dead, but I think that's too conditional. So this would only be in Shadow Priest. Niche, but definitely playable. Strong effect. Traveling Merchant, 3 mana 2/3 neutral minion. Tradable. Battlecry gain +1/+1 for each other friendly minion you control. some token support, and it's not only for Druid, of course, because this is for anything that has tokens. So if you have one other minion, it's a 3/3/4. If you have two other minions, it's a 3/4/5. So you ideally want at least 2 minions on the board for this to work. And it has tradable too, so if you end up losing the board early in the first 2 turns, or you don't have enough for the payoff, you can just trade it. The effect is good. I don't think it's powerful enough to see consistent play. I'm not even sure if it's niche. It's almost good enough, I'd say, but I don't think this is quite good enough. I think most decks won't be able to use this properly. There are a couple that have the potential to. For example, Coilcar Pack Runner in Hunter could generate enough 1/1s from the Hyenas to make this work, or even just Wolpertinger to coin this. But I don't know if you want to run this in Hunter. Druid is another option, but again, running minion-heavy Druid stuff is kind of weird when you're running token-style decks, because there's not enough card draw to support running these minions, because you'd have to either cut Fungal or accept that Fungal discards cards. So this is, I think, almost niche, but I think it's a little too unplayable. Stubborn Suspect, 4 mana 3/3, Death Rattle, summon a random 3-cost minion. No. I don't think so. Interesting and high variance, but I don't think there's enough 3 mana minions that are that nutty, so I don't think we're naturally putting this in anything. You might pop this up from some random effects, but I don't think we're putting this in any deck. Stormwind Piper, 3 mana 1/6 Demon in Hunter. After this minion attacks, give your beast +1/+1. So this is beast on board. This adds to the token style stuff they've been pushing with I don't know, the 6 mana spell that made a bunch of rats, but it's still kind of slow. So you could have this on the board on turn 3 or on 4 or 5, and then if you get the rat spell out and then swing, it's pretty good. But then you're running a 3 mana 1/6, and again, this isn't immediate impact, so you have to take your turn to play this and then set up for the next turn. So if you play this on 3, it sticks, and then on turn 4 you develop a bunch of beasts, it could be good. But otherwise, it's a bit too slow. And again, it's working towards a slightly slower setup for Hunter, which Hunter historically has not liked too much. But this actually could be playable. Depending on how much you can dump on 4, this could be okay. I'm a little skeptical, but I can accept that this actually is a pretty strong effect if you can flood the board immediately. So okay, maybe. Truant Crescent actually is a good point as well. Like, it could work with this. And this doesn't have to survive the attack, so even if it attacks and dies, and it's big enough that it really just doesn't die to stuff on turn 3 naturally when you play it, this could be niche. I think, I'm skeptical about running slow stuff in Hunter, but this actually might be playable. Stormwind Guard, 5 mana 4/5 neutral minion. Taunt, Battlecry, give adjacent minions +1/+1. Kind of like a slightly different Fungalmancer, but defensive. I don't think we're running this in any deck. It's just too slow. When you're running very aggressive type style decks that want to take advantage of board buffs, you're not going to run a 5 mana +2/+2. Yeah, this is more of an arena card. Stormwind Freebooter, she's kind of cute too. 3/3/3 Pirate Warrior. Battlecry, give your hero +2 attack this turn. Oh, okay, this is quite playable. Is this enough to push Pirate Warrior? No, but this is decent support. It's actually decent support. 5 could be a decent breakpoint if you already have a War Axe equipped or something, either from Sword Eater or from Ganarg. This could be playable in a more weapon aggressive type deck. Interesting. Okay. Aimed Shot, 3 mana Hunter spell, deal 3 damage. Your next hero power deals 2 more damage. Wow. This is just good, right? This is 3 mana, deal 5. It can go face. You can use it early for board control, and you're not super upset using it for board control because then you still bank the damage to the hero power. Solid. Very playable. This also works with Barak, so you can run Barak and this in an aggressive style Hunter, and it's decent. And again, flexibility. It can be used to clear board, but most likely it'll go face a lot of the time. Okay, cool. Decent. Stockade's Prisoner, 2 mana 5/4. Start Stormwind. After you play 3 cards, this awakens. Ooh. Interesting. See, this is a cool card. What can use this effectively? Rogue can play a bunch of cards. Again, Druid could play a bunch of cards, but you don't want to be running minions like this in Druid. Maybe in Rogue, but I don't know if this is better than other stuff, because you play this on 2. You probably on average activate it on 4. Sometimes you activate it on 3, but then you're kind of all-inning, right? I don't think this card is good. I don't think we have enough decks that can all-in that quickly. Interesting, but no, I don't think so. Very cool design. Okay, 3 mana 2/2 Alliance Bannerman. Battlecry, draw a minion. Give minions your hand +1/+1. Hand buff. So the fact that this, and this is two separate sentences. So you draw the minion, and then the minion you draw gets buffed. This might actually be an acceptable Hearthstone card. Cycles itself and gives your hand +1/+1. Okay. The other hand buff cards I've seen have been kind of meh. This one is actually acceptable, I think. This is one of the stronger cards in the archetype. Niche. Next. Stockade's Guard, 1/1/3. Battlecry, give a friendly minion taunt. Kind of like a poopy Sun Fury. Well, not poopy, different. Cheaper, but only gives 1. And you get to choose it. So you can, it's not adjacent. You get to position it and then target the one that you want. And it has to be friendly minion, so you can't target your opponents. I don't think we run this. Actually, maybe you do run this. You know what? This could actually be run in Handlock, right? We have the we talked about a couple other cards in the in part 2 where you can make the big demon based on your hand size for 4 mana, and then you could run this as a crappy Sun Fury. This might actually be playable. It's niche. I don't think it really fits anywhere else, but this could definitely be in this could definitely go in Hand Warlock. Cool. So this, I like that they're printing stuff like this. Having Sun Fury in could help Handlock, so this is a slightly different one without just reprinting it, so kind of cool. Sow the Soil, 1 mana, nature spell for Druid. Choose one. Give your minions +1 attack or summon a 2/2 Treant. Okay, 1 mana, summon 2/2 is decent. Give your minions +1 attack. Do we run this in Token Druid? We could run this in Token Druid. This card's just solid, right? 1 mana play. Now, in Token Druid, when we're thinking of stuff like Gibberling and Glowfly, you want more spells in hand, so you might not necessarily want to dump this on 1, but maybe we build a Token Druid that's just more aggressive, that curves out faster, and you could still hold this, depending on what your hand looks like. This might be playable. It would really only fit in the token style deck. Otherwise, you get this from One Maker or discover it from studies or something, but this might be niche. Auction House Gavel. Shaman 2/2 weapon. After your hero attacks, reduce the cost of Battlecry minion in your hand by 1. So this has synergy with the legendary, where whenever you play Battlecry minion, repeat the first Battlecry you play this turn. So this adds some discount. Discounts in general can be quite strong. And the stats on this weapon aren't insane, but it's still pretty solid. 2 attack doesn't kill that many things, right? That's the concern. The reason stuff like Whack-A-Null and a bunch of other weapons are printed, not just in Shaman, 3 attack cleans up early minions. 2 attack doesn't always do that. Again, probably niche. The effect is okay, but 2 damage doesn't kill much. So even niche might be a bit of a stretch. I think this might not be playable. But the effect is interesting. And it specifically reduces Battlecry too. So you can, it's a little more targetable. You have a slightly more agency. Battleground Battlemaster, 5/5 adjacent minions have Wind Fury, and it's not a Battlecry, it's just as long as this is alive. Okay. Yeah, I don't think we run this. Sigil of Alacrity. Oh, another Sigil for Demon Hunter, which means 1 mana, shadow spell. At the start of your next turn, draw a card and reduce its cost by 1. I don't know why we're pushing more Demon Hunter good card draw with discounts, but someone in charge likes Demon Hunter. Okay, Blessed Goods. 1 mana, holy spell for Paladin. Discover a secret weapon, a weapon or a Divine Shield minion. So kind of like Pack Kodo for Hunter, but without the body. Okay, secrets are meh usually. Weapons can be okay, and Divine Shields can be okay as well. So you would run this, in theory, in the Divine Shield hand buff deck, because you could play this on 1, depending on what the matchup is, and decide if you need board control of the weapon, secret for disruption, or Divine Shield just for stuff. So this might be playable there, but I'm skeptical that that deck's good in general. And by extent, I don't think this is that great either. Secrets are on average poop. Weapons... Paladin weapons are actually pretty decent, so that option won't be bad. But Divine Shield minion might be a little too inflexible. I mean, worst case, if you miss, you take a secret, but I wouldn't really want to run 1 mana Discover Secret, so I don't think so. Shard of the Naru, 1 mana spell for Priest. It's holy, and it's tradable. Silence all enemy minions. Huh. Well, I'm so happy that Priest can now discover Silence all enemy minions for 1 mana. Yeah, renew or palm rating to this. That's going to cause some fun games. Do we naturally run this? I think this depends on the meta. This is going to depend on the meta. If the meta is very Death Rattly, tokeny, or have important cards that need to be silenced, you probably tech 1 of these in. I don't think you can run 2 of these. That's probably too much. Tradable as well, which makes it a decent tech card. You might run this as a 1 of in Priest. Obviously, you can't run this in Shadow Priest, but this might be usable as a tech card. Shadowcloth Needle. Ooh, weapons for different classes. I guess we're running Rustrot Viper in every single deck. Anyways, 2 mana, 0 attack, 3 durability. After you cast a shadow spell, deal 1 damage to all enemies. Lose 1 durability. I think there's enough card draw from what I've seen to maybe support it without it being too aggressive, like oppressive. This is probably okay. This card's pretty good. You can't run Condemn, if I'm not mistaken. I think Condemn is holy. Yeah, it has synergy with the 1 mana priest spell we saw, priest minion we saw earlier, where damage either hero takes is increased by 1. It might be hard. So if you just jam this on 2, I don't know if you can set up board clears on 3 immediately, or maybe not even on 4, depending on what shadow spells we're talking about. But this is probably just good, and it does deal damage face. So against classes that don't have sustains, damage is permanent. I'm not sure how to evaluate this by itself. You'd have to kind of look at all the spells and decide which ones go in the deck. But the effect is good, especially since it can go face. Okay, Sanctum Chandler. 5 mana, 4/5 elemental for mage. After you cast a fire spell, draw a spell. And this is an ongoing effect. So while this is in play, if you cast a fire spell, you draw a spell. Most fire spells, I believe, are pretty expensive. So you'd want this to kind of stick on the board. And a 5/5 doesn't stick on the board that often. Or you'd have to combo it on turn like 6, 7, or 8 with a fire spell from hand, i.e. Combustion or something. Skeptical. Read more cards first. We'll be going through all of them, and as I see new stuff, I'll make notes on previous things we go through. At a glance, this doesn't seem that great, but we'll see. Cycle and Mage as well, and it specifically draws spells, which is also decent. Okay, Bloodbound Imp, 2 mana, 2/5 Demon. That's pretty heavy stat line. Whenever this attacks, deal 2 damage to hero. Okay, so this is like Never Set Ritualist, except instead of 3, 4, 5, it's 2, 2, 5. It also damages yourself, which can help progress the Warlock quest on curve on 2, and it works with Flush Giant, and it can help fight. This card's just good. You could even run this in Zoo and Dark Lair. Yeah, this card's just good. Canal Sloggers, 4 mana, 6 for elemental for Shaman. Rush Lifesteal Overload 1. What? This card's insane. It's an overload card, which could be used for the quest, but importantly, several important things here. Elemental tag means you can run this in a sort of slower control type deck, because one thing Shaman's missing is healing. Lifesteal on a rush minion, and it's 6 attack, which is pretty good. This card's just good. Now, Control Shaman's probably not very good so far from what we've seen, but this card is good. Cargo Guard. Oh, it's a pirate. 3 mana, 2/4 minion for warrior. At the end of your turn, gain 3 armor. I have some doubts about this, and I know I need to see the warrior quest first because I've been told that it's pirate related. I'm skeptical about this, and the reason I'm skeptical about this is the same reason I'm skeptical about other cards that read gain armor and do nothing. And this isn't doing nothing because it is a 3/2/4, but a 3/2/4 effectively does nothing. So it's 3 mana, gain 3 armor, and then you have this on board, which does need to be dealt with technically. I don't know if this I don't know if this takes up a slot. I'll have to see what the warrior quest is, but at a glance, I don't think this takes up a slot. Having extra armor is useful, so maybe you can build control warrior a bit differently. Maybe switch back to Silas type stuff, but I'm not sure. Catacomb Guard. 3 mana, 1 for Paladin minion. Lifesteal. Battle Cry, deal damage equal to this minion's attack to an enemy minion. Okay, so hand buff support. Now, having heal helps in hand buff because you take a few turns off trying to buff your hand. Has to be specifically an enemy minion. No, I'm still skeptical. Most hand buff stuff, I'm just gonna, unless it's particularly good, I'm gonna say no, I'm skeptical. And this is one of those cards that I'm skeptical about. You'd have to buff it a couple of times over for it to be good. Maybe if it started off as a 3/2/4, but that would probably be too strong. Yeah, I'm skeptical about this. Spirit Alpha, 4 mana, 2/5 Shaman minion. After you play a card with Overload, summon a Toothy Spirit Wolf with Taunt. That's kind of cool. So as a note, not about this card, but in general, I like that they have some ongoing effects that it gives a bit more. I like that actually. That's kind of nice. You can immediately combo together with stuff once you have it in play. I like this, that they're adding some more stuff like with this type of effect, an ongoing effect, a passive effect instead of just a one-time thing. Maybe it becomes a little toxic, but coming out much later is the big deal, right? When you have cards like Caravans or Meeting Stone where on 1 or 2, it'd be kind of annoying if it goes off and it's a good effect, but I think that something like this is fine. Is this card good? So you'd probably want to run this on turn 5 plus an Overload spell. Maybe this plus a Bolt could be an option. Tempoing this out on 4 is a little sketchy because 5... I don't know how much you're fighting for board early on. And this is a card with Overload. It doesn't have to be a spell. Yeah, you could do this plus Bloom and then some stuff. I think I'm skeptical about this as well. The effect is good, but it's a little slow. And Shaman isn't really the class where you want to just all in with a bunch of 2/3 Spirit Wolves. Example, if you want to go Spirit Alpha plus a bunch of cheap stuff. Because you don't have Bloodlust, you don't have weapon, like board buffs. So the effect is decent. I don't know if this is good enough though. SI7 Skulker, 2 mana, 2/2 neutral minion, stealth. Battlecry, the next card you draw costs 1 less. 2/2 stealth with the next card you draw costing 1 less. Is this playable? This might be niche. Stealth Rogue? Question mark? This effect might be good enough. It's neutral too. I don't think it fits in most decks, but you could make this work. This might be, I'm not gonna write this off. This actually could be okay. 2/2 isn't that great, but the fact that the fact that it's another minion that has stealth, in theory, if you're pushing a stealth type aggressive rogue, and you get a mana discount, which is okay as well. So it's almost like it's a 1 mana 2/2, but it not quite. This might be okay. Yeah. SI7 Operative. Ooh, SI7 stuff. Very Stormwind themed. 3 mana 2/4 rogue minion. Rush. After this attacks a minion, gain stealth. Nope, don't care about this. A little bit more stealth stuff, but I don't think this is the kind of stuff that Stealth Rogue wants to be pushing. So I'm doubtful about this. A lot of SI7 stuff. Battlecry, 4 mana 3/3 rogue minion. Battlecry, gain +1/+1 for each SI7 card you played this game. I see. So the So we're looking at a turn 2 into 3 into 4 type curve. We have SI7 Agent as well. Are there more SI7 cards? So this is card, not minion. This next card is going to be rogue as well. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 in the agents. The thing is, I don't think we can run SI7 Agent right now. And I don't think this payoff is good enough. I don't think this card's good enough. And because that card's not good enough, this card's probably not good. This might see standalone play, but I'm skeptical. I also haven't checked the rogue quest line yet. I'll take a look at that, guys. All right, anyways, skeptical, but again, we don't have all the information. SI7 Extortion. Tradable. Deal 3 damage to undamaged character. So slightly different backstab, but it's tradable. No. I don't like this. You would only run this specifically for SI7 synergy, which I don't think is worth it. Because think about Brain Freeze, right? Brain Freeze has to be comboed, but it's more flexible and it freezes. It's not tradable, but I mean, you're not really sad to have Brain Freeze in your hand. So no, I don't. No, unless there's some other synergy that we'll be seeing later on. Celestial Ink Sets, 2 mana mage weapon. Looks like each of the classes might have a weapon now. 0 attack to durability. After you spend 5 mana on spells, reduce the cost of spell in your hand by 5. This is an interesting one. This is more of a build around you type card, depending on what kind of mage minions you have, mage spells you have. So it could hit spells that cost less than 5. So you have some level of agency over this, right? You get to choose how you spend the mana and then hope to hit the right one. I'm skeptical about this. We only have so many expensive minions in mage so far. Expensive spells in mage so far. And even though you can discount them with this, I don't know if we want to run this. I'm skeptical about this. Maybe this sets up for some combos, but skeptical. SI7 Assassin. Oh, more SI7 stuff. Okay. Costs 1 less. Oh, 7 mana 4/4 rogue minion. Costs 1 less for each SI7 card you play this game. Combo destroy an enemy. Okay. The fact that there's more stuff makes it better, but this benefits from the other things. How cheap do you want this to be good? 3 mana would be insane. 4 mana would be decent because you still want to be able to combo it. 5 mana is kind of already like maybe. So you want to play 3 SI7 minions. The effect is powerful if the rest of the deck is playable. I'm skeptical right now about the playability of the deck. So by extent, I'm going to say this is niche because it fits in the deck and it's good, but I don't know if the deck is viable. This is the Warrior Quest. Quest line, sorry. Raid the Docks. Play 3 pirates, draw a weapon. Excellent. Raid the Docks. Questline, play 3 pirates, reward, draw a weapon. Questline, play 2 pirates. Reward, deal 2 damage to a random enemy twice. So that can go face as well. And finally, play 2 pirates and you get Captain Rokara. Okay, so 7 pirates in total, and you summon the Juggernaut. The Juggernaut is start of your turn, summon a pirate equip a warrior weapon, and fire 2 cannons that deal 2 damage. This is just persistent? Is this an ongoing effect? This is an ongoing effect? Okay, that's quite good. You basically have infinite weapon charges, and you fire 2 cannons that deal 2 damage? Huh, okay. That's actually pretty good. So this is a different win condition now for warrior. You don't have to run the whole, I mean, before you could run stuff like Cthulhu or Silas. Maybe, you probably still don't run Silas, but you could try doing some Silas stuff. This is actually pretty good. It's not a hero power. I think it's just, it takes up a slot on the board is the way I'm picturing this. This is probably just okay. And you get to summon a pirate every turn too. Oh, this is absolutely just good. Now, the difference between this is that, and some of the other win conditions we've seen for warriors, that this actually just is faster. And this still doesn't, you can still do this a few different ways. You can go full like Smork Pirate, but you can also play this a bit more defensively and just have this as a passive value thing, right? Every turn you end up dealing 2 damage twice. You get a random weapon, so you have infinite swings, and you summon a pirate. So this is just kind of an ongoing value thing that can't be removed. This is actually pretty good. This is actually really good. So this is a more mid-rangey style control warrior, but you could still play it defensively. I am a big fan of this card. I'm going to be making a deck out of this. That's cool. Okay, let's go back to this now. So yeah, this card is pretty good. So because of that, the other warrior pirates we've seen are actually pretty... So the 3 mana gain 2 attack is fine, even just by itself. The 3 mana 2/4 gain armor might actually just be playable now, because you need more... You just need enough pirates to get this going. So I think you absolutely do run that. And the fact that this war draws you weapon too is kind of a big deal, because you actually... It gets the weapon swings going, right? Like you're running Outrider's Axe, bam, ship it. Now this is draw weapon, so you still have to pay mana to equip it. This might actually be... I mean, this is the most playable quest I think we've seen so far. Wow, I'm excited for this. All right, so as I was saying, Raid the Docks, insane. I like this. Next up, Rodent Nest, 4 mana 2/2. I guess a minion for Hunter. Death Rattle, summon 5/1/1 rats. You remember how I talked about Hunter doing slow things and then that not working out too well most of the time? Yeah, and this is one of those cards. A lot of value in here, but it's really slow. And the thing about summoning tokeny stuff is I think most classes have ways to deal AoE. There's some that don't, but there's Condemn, there's Nova, Discover, a bunch of random stuff, and Priest, Warrior. Druid, I guess, doesn't have it, and Rogue doesn't inherently have it either. So maybe this is actually just good if you're not facing Priests or Warriors or Demon Hunters, but my instinct is that it's slow. And it is slow, but I don't know if the meta is going to slow down this hard. I think Hunter would still just be happy running more aggressive stuff, but maybe I'm wrong about that. Psyfiend, 3 mana 3/4, nice stat line. Priest minion. After you cast a shadow spell, deal 2 damage to each hero. Okay. Curve. Yup. Damage. Yup. Okay, Temple Priest. Good card. Now, damaging yourself is problematic, but in the Shadow Priest type deck, you're trying to kill your opponent faster than you die. Well, I mean, you do that with every deck, but specifically, you have tools that help you escalate the damage faster than you should be taking it. So, yeah, good shadow support. Prestor's Pyromancer, 2 mana 2/3 mage minion. Okay, moving away from spells, cool. Battlecry, your next fire spell has spell damage +2, and that's not this turn, so this carries over. I've only seen a couple of fire spells so far, so if we see some more that are good, then cool. And it's a nice minion to just play on 2. This actually pops up a bit in Spell Mage as well from Font of Power as an extra 2-drop as a side note. Skeptical until I see more fire spells. Otherwise, stat line is fine. Maybe you run this, but I don't know. Package Runner, 3 mana 5/6 neutral minion. Can only attack you if you have at least 8 cards in hand. Okay, so we got a handlock type thing here. It's a little awkward. Even if you're on the coin, you tap on 2. You play this on 3. Yes, if you tap on 2 on coin with Warlock, play this on 3 and tap on 4, you can attack with it. It's just statted well too, so you could run this as an Ancient Watcher type thing, and then taunt it up with the 1 mana Taunt Giver we saw earlier. Or you could run Owls and stuff. If we have multiple silence effects, that could work as well. Very niche. Maybe it fits in Handlock, but maybe. Northshire Farmer. I would say if we had Sun Fury, then yes. But because the Taunt Giver only gives taunt to 1 minion, this might be a little less good because of that. Northshire Farmer, 3 mana 3/3 neutral minion. Battlecry, choose a friendly beast. Shuffle 3 3/3 copies into your deck. Now, oh god, are we running this in the? We might be running this in the Elwyn Boar deck, but otherwise this is too slow, right? Now you could shuffle a bigger beast, and it comes out with 3/3 copies. And then there's some upside from that. But this is super slow, right? This is giga slow. Yeah, this is just way too slow. And if it's 3/3 copies, I imagine the card in your deck will also be a 3 mana 3/3. So it has to have a good effect for it to be useful. Yeah, this is slow. Probably not. It fits in the meme decks, but Nobleman. That's a fun card. 3 mana 2/3 neutral minion. Battlecry, create a golden copy of a random card in your hand. Value. Okay. Are we gonna have a meta that we can be this greedy though? So this is gonna be a greedy tech card. We'll call it niche. The fact that it's random makes it much, much worse. In fact, it makes it a lot worse. And if it had reasonable stats, maybe, but otherwise, you're basically playing this on curve and hoping to hit something relevant in a matchup where you're getting smorked. Or in a matchup that's slower, you save this and try to hit win conditions. So I'm going to say this is niche because copying win conditions can be pretty good. But I don't know if this fits a slot in your average deck. Noble Mount, so this is the Paladin Mount. 2 mana spell, give a minion +1/+1 with Divine Shield. When it dies, summon a Warhorse. And the Warhorse, I imagine, is a 1/1 Divine Shield. Is this good? It's okay. It has 2 Divine Shields, right? One from the spell and one from the Death Rattle, which does work with the weapon we saw in Paladin earlier that buffs your hand whenever a Divine Shield gets used. Meh. Probably one of the worst mounts. Morg Forge Fiend, 8 mana, 8/8 neutral demon. Taunt, Death Rattle, gain 8 armor. We could run this in Azoth. Most decks don't run demons. And it has Taunt and a defensive Death Rattle. So in a slow, greedy deck, we could run this. It's like a reverse Cenarian Ward. You get the 8/8 with Taunt that's defensive, and then you get the 8 armor. This might be too slow. The benefit of running something like Light Share Elemental in Priest, for example, is that it's much cheaper. And this is a thicker body. I don't know if you can support running this. This is quite slow. This is very slow. Even for a control deck. Because turn 8 is so, and it's so inflexible. If they have some sort of silence, I don't know if decks will be running silence though, but this is real slow. Maybe Fringe, but I'm gonna lean towards, even though this is decent and works with Azoth, it's probably too slow. Royal Librarian, 4 mana 3/4, tradable, it's a minion. Tradable, Battlecry, silence a minion. I think having a silence minion where you can have it as tradable is decent. So the fact that the silence is on a tradable minion is much better. But again, a lot of the time it's better to just have a deck that performs well within itself. That being said, if the meta gets a little too wacky with Death Rattles and Taunts and stuff, you could tech one of these in. So I think this might be a Fringe playable card just because it has tradable. The stat line's kind of poop. I'd rather pay 3 mana with an Owl and accept that it's just a useless card, but the fact that it is tradable means that the stats matter less on it. Can you silence your own minion? Yes. Metamorphin. It's a Murloc. This is a Demon Hunter minion. 1 mana, 1/2 Murloc. Taunt. Okay. Battlecry. If you've cast a Fel spell this turn, gain +2/+2. So this gives some Fel synergy, which means that it turns to 1 mana 3/4 Taunt. Slightly defensive, but even defensive stuff aside, it's still like a 1 mana 3/4, right? If you're still running an aggressive deck, you could technically do something like Fury on 2 with this and play it. Stats are good. The problem is I don't think this fits in the deck, right? We talked about Jay Starkweaver as a finisher in the type of mid-range Demon Hunter deck, but I don't know if that Demon Hunter deck really works. So this will fit in that deck, but I don't think it's playable. 2 mana 3/2 Rogue Legendary minion, Maestro of the Masquerade. You start the game as a different class until you play a rogue card. So at a glance, this is garbage. I'm just trying to think of the implications. So that means you could. I'm assuming at the start of the game, you get offered like a discover type hero power, unless it's random. If it's random, holy crap, this is garbage. If you can discover, then maybe if you get to discover the spell, you could maybe just start off by tapping, but that's still not consistent enough. It's random. Garbage. Next card. Good meme. Lone Shark, 3 mana 3/4 beast. It's a rogue minion. Battlecry, give your opponent a coin. Death Rattle, you get 2. So running this, we talked about this in part 2. Running this in that type of Death Rattle rogue deck could get you some extra mana to work with, but I still don't think this Death Rattle is good enough, and especially when you're playing this as a minion, giving your opponent a coin first is not good. So I don't think so. I don't think so. No. Guys, sure, mulligans, but sure, on ladder, maybe miss mulligans, but the fact that that means you have to run a 2 mana 3/2 that's just garbage. On ladder, maybe this has some benefits, but I think It's actually an interesting point, because I review cards not necessarily strictly for tournaments, so sure, there's some benefits to be had for this, but hey, I'm skeptical about this. There's the weapon that could get you 2 coins. There's another spell that draws you this and triggers the death rattle, but I don't think it's worth it. So like probably maybe there's a deck there. I just don't think it's gonna be better than the other rogues. Lion's Guard, 5 mana, 4/6 neutral minion. Battle Cry, if you have 15 or less health, gain +2/+4 in taunt. So this is kind of like Hooked Reaver. So if it is active, it becomes what? A 5 mana 6/10 with taunt. Does this fit in Hand Warlock? Because Hand Warlock with Quest, for example, would get low, right? This might be playable. 5 mana is a lot to pay. I mean, the effect is good, right? 6/10 taunt is good. But again, depends on the meta and depends on what else fits in that deck. Because this probably wouldn't be the first card I would include in the Warlock type deck. I don't really think this fits in any other decks. Maybe you could run in Shadowform Priest if you're damaging yourself too, but I am very skeptical. So maybe niche in Warlock, and even then I might be a little skeptical. Yeah, 5 mana 4/6 isn't bad, but you don't want to run 5 mana 4/6. 5 mana 4/6 is garbage. If you don't get the Battle Cry, this card is poop, right? So I don't know. Lion's Frenzy, Demon Hunter weapon, 3 mana, 0 durability, 0 attack, 2 durability. Has attack equal to the number of cards you've drawn this turn? No, I think I'm just getting baited. Not really playable. I mean, it fits in the Quest deck, that it's just not gonna be better than the other decks. It's just not worth it. Leatherworking Kit, 2 mana hunter weapon, 0 attack, 3 durability. After 3 friendly beasts die, draw a beast and give it +1/+1. Lose 1 durability. Again, slow, value-oriented. No, I don't think so. Again, it fits in that kind of deck, but I'm not convinced that deck's gonna be playable. Lady Prestor, 6 mana, 6/7 neutral legendary minion. Battlecry, transform minions in your deck into random dragons. They keep their original stats and cost. Okay, real talk. You could, there's 2 applications for this. One, you run it as a sort of reform type tech card, as you used to in Zoo, where when you realize you can't win the game anymore with your normal cards, you throw this down and then just hope you high roll them with dragons. Or you run this in a control deck as an alternate win condition, where same thing, you ship it in a control matchup and get random dragons in your deck. Now, the stats and cost being the same is very important, because this means that let's say your next 2 mana 2/3 turns into a Ysera. It's a 2 mana 2/3 Ysera, but it's still 2 mana 2/3. That being said, the payoff is huge. Good dragons to get, stuff like Onyxia, Ysera, Malagos if you need more card draw. Now it's not just like the legendary dragons. You could get like crappy dragons too. You get Alex as well. This might be playable. So this is niche, but this is playable. We're not just shipping this in every deck, but some decks I think could actually take advantage of this. Yeah, okay. Cool. I love that I get to deal with random dragons, but cool. Okay. Next up, Irebound Brute, a 7 mana 6/7 Demon Hunter minion. It's a demon. Taunt costs 1 less for each card drawn this turn. Really pushing this archetype, but it's really not that good. Maybe the tempo, okay, maybe with enough support, the deck is playable. So by default, this is actually a 6 mana 6/7 because of the natural card you draw at the start of the turn. This actually does help quite a bit, right? You draw 3 cards plus the natural card draw. This is a 3 mana 6/7. But still, drawing 3 cards means you're sculling or something else. Yeah, if you skull into this, it is 0. But then you're trying to win a tempo battle. Maybe you can do a tempo battle with this. Maybe this is fine. Okay, so this card actually is decent. But again, this all comes down to, we're building around playing Skull in a Demon Hunter deck, and if we're sculling, why are we not just blowing up our opponent for like 200 damage? So this card actually is okay, but because Skull is a card, not because we want to be doing this. So this is one of the better cards from the Demon Hunter set that we're seeing that are pushing the draw stuff, but still skeptical. We'll call it niche. Investment Opportunity. 1 mana Shaman spell. Draw an Overload card. Okay, this works with the Shaman Overload quest, which I'm still not convinced is the nuts. And actually post-quest, this is nice too, because you draw 2 Overload cards. Is this good? So it's 1 mana, draw a card, so it cycles. Specifically Overload, which narrows it down quite a bit, especially if you build your deck in that specific manner. I mean, this isn't a great card, but you run it. I don't think you run it in every deck, but you can't not run this card. This will be played at some point in something. I don't want to think too hard about what it's going to be played in, but this is probably just playable, which sucks because it's really not like super nutty, but I mean, card draw and Shaman, you know. I think you do want it, yeah. Okay, Ignite. Hey, a fire spell. 2 mana, mage spell, fire. Deal 2 damage. This can go face. Shuffle and Ignite into your deck that deals 1 more fire damage. What? Hold up. This is a win condition. This is insane. Whoa. Who signed off on this? Who signed off on this? I want to know who's responsible for this. So, a couple applications. One, you run in a spell damage type deck that's focused around drawing their whole deck. Cram Session. What's the 5-mana 5/5? Aegwin. So you run it like the old school minion mage the minion mage that Casey built with spell damage, or maybe it wasn't Casey, but I know Casey played it and brought it to GM one week. Or you put this in spell mage as like as a finisher, because in spell mage sometimes you do draw your deck and then run out of gas, and if you have a poop hand where you can't just burn your opponent out because you have to fight for board with your normal costed cards, this could be like a finisher if you get to the end of your deck. That being said, it doesn't fix the problem where you die to some aggressive decks. This is definitely playable. Maybe not in every deck. It's definitely not an auto-include, because for this to pay off completely, you do need some time, and Mage doesn't have infinite time. But this is probably a playable card for sure. Okay, cool. And it's fire, which helps progress the quest, technically. Hot Streak. Hey, a fire spell. 0 mana Mage spell. Your next fire spell this turn costs 2 less. Does Mage have enough card draw to support this? I don't know if it does. Is this even good? This Flame Strike, this Combustion... This plus the AoE, this plus Ignite. I don't think this is very good. Sorry. I don't think this is very good. I don't think there's enough cards to support this. That's the problem. Synergy with Mizaki, I suppose, but again, wait, maybe... Wait. Mizaki Mage? Can that work? Wait, this absolutely can work in Mizaki Mage, right? No. Apprentice is gone. Does that matter? It does matter. You could still win with that. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I think Apprentice does matter, because you still need... The mana discount is pretty important, and flow is going to be a big part of the deck, and flow is already really high rolly, but if you don't draw flow early, you're just going to lose with this deck. So maybe... I don't know. It won't be as powerful as it will be before, but maybe Mizaki deck exists here. But still, at best, very niche. So I'm skeptical about this. High Lord 4 Dragon, 6 mana 5/5, Paladin minion, Divine Shield. After a friendly minion loses Divine Shield, give a minion in your hand +5/+5. And it counts itself as a friendly minion because it doesn't say after another or an other friendly minion. Yeah, I'm still skeptical about this. Really slow. This does make the lifesteal thing in hand better, though. The one that is like deals its attack damage to minion, like the Aeon Reaver type effect. No, too slow. Hand buff. This is a good hand buff. Like this is much more reasonable, but it's just still too slow. Maybe if it had taunt, that's a good point. But by itself, it's like meh. Like your opponent plays this, you ignore it and go face. Okay, Harbor Scamp. Ooh, more Pirates for Warrior. 2 mana 2/2 minion. Battlecry draw Pirate. Insane. Absolutely insane. Quest on 1, Scamp on 2, Pirate on 3, Sword Eater on 4. Ship it. Good card. And I'm weighting this much better now because I've seen what the Warrior quest is. Yeah, ship it. This is just nuts. Cool. Guild Trader. 4 mana 3/4. Neutral minion. Tradable. Spell damage +2. Interesting. Next card. Historically, spell damage +2 has been pretty strong. And we have had it for 4 mana before. And adding tradable to it does make it a bit more good. But I don't think it's good enough. Actually, maybe you run this in Mage. The problem is it's really slow. This dilutes the spell damage pool as well from studies. So this into Cram Session could be good, but I think that's kind of slow. I think you'd rather Cram Session with lab partners and 2 mana spell damage minions. I think this is a little too inefficient. Like, I'd rather just run Phoenix over this, you know? Granite Forgeborn, 4 mana 4/5 Shaman minion. Elemental. Battlecry, reduce the cost of elementals in your hand and deck by 1. I'm not happy that this exists, but it's good. This is another have this card on curve, and then you just start winning the game a lot more often, which I really don't like. But if we're talking about the power level of the card, it's probably solid. Get it? Because it's granite. Next up, Chaos Leech. 3 mana spell for Demon Hunter. It's a Fel spell, which has synergy with the Murloc and the Jace thing. Lifesteal. Deal 3 damage to a minion. Outcast, deal 5 instead. I don't think we do put into OTK Demon Hunter because it still costs 3 when it's outcast, even though it deals more. No, we definitely don't run this over I-Beam. So I don't think this fits into OTK DH. I don't think we run this anywhere. I mean, you'd run this in the Fel deck, but I don't think that's a good deck. Meh, I don't think this is strong enough. I'll talk a bit more about why. So having cards like this means you want to sustain yourself with a deck and get to your win condition. And if your win condition is blow your opponent up, then you want to run Il'gynoth and that kind of package, and you don't need this in that deck because there's other efficient stuff to do. So if you're running this in a tempo style deck, you'd rather have just tempo cards, not this. So Charged Call, 3 mana shaman spell. It's a nature spell. Discover a 1-cost minion and summon it. Upgraded for each overload card you play this game. No. I guess we're playing the Shaman Quest, guys. So Shaman Quest has you play overload cards, which makes this better every time you play an overload card, and also after the quest is complete, all your spells cast twice, which means that this gets cast twice. Once you get this up to 10, you just discover Scrapyard Colossuses and your opponent's rage at the game. If you discover, like, and you can choose when you play this too, so you can get like 8 drops, 9 drops, whatever. So this benefits people who understand what the pool looks like, but I mean, it's pretty easy to just jam this whenever this number is high enough. So I don't. It's a powerful card, and you probably run this in the Overlord decks now, which is upsetting. Cheesemonger, 4 mana, 3/6. Whenever your opponent casts a spell, add a random spell with the same cost to your hand. Interesting. Next card, not very playable. Stat lines, meh. Maybe if it's a pirate tag, you throw in Warrior or something, but there's no pirate tag, despite it clearly being a pirate. Yeah, you don't want this. It's crappy disruption. It doesn't actually stop your opponent from doing stuff, and the random spells you get, you still have to pay full mana for. So interesting, but not really a good tech card. Ooh, Grand Magus. Magus? Anyways, Big Daddy Tony. 8 mana, 6/6 mage minion. Battlecry, if you've cast a fire spell on each of your last 3 turns, cast 3 fireballs at random enemies. No, too slow, too random. I don't like it. Let's assume you're clearing the board every turn, right? You clear the board with a fire spell, they play some stuff, then you do this. It's a bit of a finisher, but I don't think it's worth it. It could be 18 face damage, but I don't think it's good enough. Art is cool. Effect is flavorful, but I don't see it. Can you make this cheaper or copy it or something? Not really. So probably not. And of course, that it's benefited with spell damage. You could set up Phoenix stuff with this, but probably not. City Architect, 6 mana, 4/4. Battlecry, summon 2 0/5 castle walls with taunt. Okay, we're building a wall, huh? This is very defensive. This buys you time to do what? Nether? Or something to that effect? This is niche. So this is not just, oh my god, this is insane, but for 6 mana, 10 health, and you get a 4/4 out of it, it's probably pretty good. This is a good stall card. I think this might be playable at some point somewhere, but you don't just throw this into decks. You have to throw this into a deck that needs time, and this buys some time. Builds into Flame Strike, Nether, buys you a turn to draw Brawl or something. Maybe playable as a card. Goldshire Knoll, 10 mana, 5/4. Rush, costs 1 less for each other card in your hand. Handlock, okay? So let's say you have 7 cards in hand, and this, so 8 cards in hand. This costs 3 mana, 5 for Rush. Obviously good in Handlock, but is this good enough? I don't know if this is good enough in Handlock. It might still be too slow. If you have a full hand, this is really, maybe this is okay, actually. Significantly, it has Rush. If it was just a 5/4 or something, you know, maybe, yeah. We need 7 cards to make it good. Yeah, I'm thinking about best case. What is it? Best case is a 1 mana 5 for Rush, which is actually quite good because, like, every time I picture this handlock, I'm thinking, okay, tap on 2, backfire on 3, we have a full hand, now what? And this actually is pretty good. Now, Valdris isn't in, which, I mean, you can't have this as 0 mana, but this might still be good, and you also have the Warlock weapon that discounts stuff on hand a little bit, so that could help too. This might be playable. This is a maybe. I'm not convinced about this one compared to some of the other ones, but this actually could be okay. And part of it is the flexibility. I talked about the 4 mana summon a demon equal to your hand size. That's flexible because you can just use them whenever you have 4 mana. This, you need your hand to be big. And most of the time it probably will be, but this I think would require some testing more than just theory crafting. This also interestingly dilutes the 10 mana pool for stuff like Nature Studies Pouch for Druid, and also the Shaman Discover a minion that gets upgraded by Overload cards played. So it makes the 10 mana pool worse a little bit. Okay. Florist, 2 mana, 2/3 neutral minion. At the end of your turn, reduce the cost of a nature spell in your hand by 1. I'm gonna say probably poop. This can be used in a few decks. I don't think Druid needs the discount, and I don't want to be running a 2 mana, 2/3 in Druid with no, yeah. Interesting. Maybe if there's some type of OTK you can make with it, but I am doubtful. So next. Another fire spell. 1 mana mage spell. First flame. Deal 2 damage to minion. Add a second flame to your hand. Deal 2 damage to minion. Okay, so this is kind of like Ray of Frost, except why don't we just call this twin spell? Whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, is this good? So this is fire recursion. Good way to put it. For stuff like Antonidas. Is this good? It's good with spell damage too. You could fit this in a deck with cram session and stuff like that. Cheap, efficient removal. This is actually pretty good. I don't think this makes Tony playable by itself, but it's actually... I think this is good. Next card. City Tax. 2 mana, paladin spell. Tradable. Lifesteal, deal 1 damage to all enemy minions. I'm not sure about this. So Consecration costs twice as much, deals twice as much, but that doesn't necessarily mean this is just as good as Consecration, right? It's less... You get Lifesteal out of it too. It's good with Barov, or Equality, and it's tradable. And Libram of Justice. Okay, you guys have convinced me. This might be playable. I don't think Paladin has enough card draw to support that, like the old Libram decks. But if they do, this could be... We'll call this niche. This actually does work with some of the AoE stuff, right? It's much cheaper than Consecration, which is actually a big deal when we're talking about Libram of Justice, Barov, and Equality. So, okay, fine. You guys have convinced me. At least niche. Clumsy Courier. 7 mana, 4/5 minion, mage minion. Oof. Battlecry, cast the highest cost spell from your hand. Puzzle box rotated, right, guys? Okay, so this could cost like Flame Strike. No, Power Creation is out. Grand Finale? Mask of Cthulhu? I'm skeptical about this. It's too slow, right? This is kind of, think of Dragoncaster, right? That's kind of what you'd be doing, because you would go Dragoncaster plus the most expensive spell. So it's kind of like Dragoncaster, but without the requirement. I don't think this is that good. If the spell pool gets crazy, then maybe. I.e. if we have box stuff, but I don't think so. Nope. Interesting, but nope. Find the Imposter. So this is the Rogue quest line, which might shed some light on some of the other SI7 cards we reviewed. Play 2 SI7 cards. Add a Spy Gizmo to your hand. Wish I knew what Spy Gizmo was. Oh, is a Spy Gizmo one of 3 things? It's one of the 5 cards. Okay. Let's look at the gizmos. Fizz Flash Distractor. 1 mana, return an enemy minion to its owner's hand. They can't play it next turn. Sap on a Crack. Okay. Spyomatic. Look at 3 cards in your opponent's deck. Pick 1 to put on top. Battlecry. Okay, that's also pretty good. Give a minion +2 attack and stealth. Okay. Noggin Fog Generator. Death Rat. 1 mana weapon. Hidden Gyro Blade. Death Rattle. Throw this at a random enemy minion. These are pretty good. Undercover Mole. 1 mana 2/3 beast. Stealth. After this attacks, add a random card to your hand from your opponent's claw. These are all really good. Okay, play 2 SI7 cards and you get the Spy Gizmo, and then you get Learn the Truth. Questline, play 2 more cards, add another Spy Gizmo to hand, okay. Finally, play 2 SI7 cards and you get Scabs. Battlecry, add 1 of each Spy Gizmo to your hand. This is actually kind of tough. There's so many different effects here that you have to you actually have to think of the long-term game plan. Because the reward is basically a Ysera type thing, right? Where you get 5 cards that have various effects. Some of it's disruption, some of it's damage, some of it is stealth, value, and disruption. Is this playable? So the SI7 cards are okay, but they're not great. And that's my issue. So this payoff is actually quite good, but you have to run a bunch of poopy cards along the way. And the cards aren't awful, but they're really not that good. So you have to run at least at least 6 SI7 cards. Definitely more, because you want this to be done consistently, which means you're diluting your deck way too much. So I don't think so. These cards are kind of cool, but I don't think they make up for the fact that you have to run the SI7 stuff. So probably not. Composting. 2 mana Druid spell. It's a nature spell. Give your minions Death Rattle, draw a card. Okay, you remember how I said we can't have enough card draw in Druid? And that I said a lot of the other cards we saw were not good? This makes these cards good, and this makes me very upset. Oi, 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 oi. This is a very good card. Oh boy, this is a very good card. Yeah, I mean, card draw supports the tokeny package. You don't even have to run this in just the spell deck. You can run it in the minions deck, but you could also just run it in normal token Druid. Or even Jombre Druid, technically, with Glowfly Storm stuff. Interesting. This is definitely playable. We could talk a lot about what decks this fits in, but this is just playable in most decks that need card draw and Druid, which is like all of them. Now, it does cost 2 mana, but this is probably just good. Yeah. Fellgorger, 4 mana, 4/3 death. Demon Hunter minion. It's a demon. Battlecry, draw a Fell spell, reduce its cost by 2. More card draw on Demon Hunter. Reducing its cost by 2. You can immediately play Chaos Strike your Fury. Maybe. We're not running this in OTKDH, so again, this would have to be in like the Fell mid-range deck. Maybe. I'm still skeptical that that deck's gonna be good, but this would fit in that, and it's not awful. So sure. This card would be decent. Fell Barrage, 2 mana, deal 2 mana spell for Demon Hunter, deal 2 damage to the lowest health enemy twice, so they can go face as well. And it's a Fell spell. Just worse than Immolation Aura. No, not seeing it. Meh. It can go face, but Entrapped Sorceress, 3 mana, 3/4, Battlecry. If you control a quest, discover a spell. Ooh, yeah, we're running this in every quest deck, right? We're running this in, maybe not in every quest deck, actually. You definitely run it in Priest. God damn it. Oh, God. You might not be able to run this in everything else, but you probably still throw at least, yeah, you probably still put these in, though. It's decent stat line. It fights for board early. It's obviously much worse after you complete the quest, but most of the quests are just good after you finish them, so you're fine, happy, like, you're not happy drawing this after the quest, but, like, fine. I think you do run this, kind of like the Questing Explorer. When you drew it after the fact, it was meh, but you still do this. Entitled Customer. 6 mana, 3/2 Warlock minion. Battlecry, deal damage equal to your hand size to all of their minions. What? Is this good? Yeah, this is pretty good, right? Almost not quite a 6 mana twisting because of Death Rattle implications, but this is pretty good. This is solid. Definitely playable. Encumbered Pack Mule, 2 mana, 2/3 minion. It's neutral. Taunt. When you draw this, add a copy of it to your hand. Interesting. Extra value, but it's a 2/2/3. So meh. Really cool effect, but would this work in survival? The problem with running this in survival, Druid, is that it's a beast and it messes with GA, so probably not. More tokeny stuff for Hunter. Ingenuity. Maybe. Skeptical. Actually, maybe this is niche. Hand buff stuff. Ingenuity, the Hunter weapon. I think there's enough different applications that this might see play at some point. So I'm not super thrilled about it, but this actually might see play at some point. And it has Taunt, which is kind of a big deal too. Okay, fine. Niche. We'll call it niche. Dire Frenzy as well. Yeah, oh my god, you know what? Fine, niche. Dreaded Mount's the Warlock one. 3 mana spell, give a minion +1/+1. When it dies, summon an endless Dread Steed. Oh, let's go. At the end of the turn, someone taps the Dread Steed. Okay, so this is like the wild thing. Is this just good? 3 mana 1/1 on the board permanently. Is this good? So the thing is, this isn't bad, but it's not necessarily good. You can make multiples, yeah. Baron is an example. I'm sure there's something else you can do too. I don't think this is that great, actually. So the effect isn't bad, but I don't think this fits in what Warlock wants to do. You could make a Dreadsteed deck and win like that, but I don't think that's the best way to win. So we'll go with nah. Way too niche. Way too niche. Well, it gives you stuff that you can use your spells on, right? You have stuff like Final Gasp, Coil, the 1 mana deal 2, heal 4. So it adds ways for you to do that on your own minions, but I don't think so. Devouring Swarm, 0 mana Hunter spell. Choose an enemy minion, your minions attack it, then return any that die to your hand. And you get this off of Pouch. Okay, so this makes the tokeny stuff much better. This is definitely a consideration. Now, the issue is you don't run this in the normal Hunter decks right now, so you would have to do the token stuff for it. I'm still skeptical about this. This looks exciting because it's 0 mana. You can get it off of Pouch, which is the main implication, because some of the lists run Pouch now. But you would have to run this in the token-heavy deck, which I'm not convinced about, so I'm going to go with pass. But definitely interesting. And again, value-oriented Hunter stuff. And again, Hunter doesn't have that much card draw, so running combo-oriented stuff is also kind of weird unless it wins the game, and this doesn't really win the game. Okay. Defend the Dwarven District. This is the Hunter quest. Questline, deal damage with 2 spells. That's pretty easy. You can go face or hit minions. Reward your hero power can target minions. Okay, control Hunter, XD. Take the high ground. Questline deals damage with 2 spells. Set the cost of your hero power to 0. Huh. Okay. Knock them down. Deal damage with 2 spells. Reward Tavish Master Marksman. Anyways, for the rest of the game, spells you cast refresh your hero power. So we're basically making a machine gun hunter. This isn't that, so okay. The effect is cool and stuff, but you guys have to consider, we have to play 6 cards that deal damage. And then we have to spend 5 mana on this as well. So we're taking a long time to do this. I think this is too, and you start off with this in your hand too, which is another problem. And there's not enough card draw. So this could fit into a lock and load style deck, but I don't think that's going to be as consistent as running normal hunter. So it's a good meme, but I don't think this is actually good. Interesting. It's actually interesting because this is a slightly different take on smorking, but I think it's a little too inconsistent. Deep Run Engineer, 2 mana, 1/2. Battle card, discover mech, it costs 1 less. I'm pretty sure the mech pool is garbage, so I'm not interested in this. And it's a 2 mana, 1/2, which is also kind of bad. Even if you get a discount, it's like, eh. If Zilliax was in, maybe in some decks, but it's not. Cowardly Grunt, 6 mana, 6/2. Death Rattle, summon a minion from your deck. Oh, Big Warrior? Pause champ? You can make a deck, it's not good enough. I think with just Commencement and this, it's probably not good enough. Maybe, though. Actually, ooh, maybe. We'll call it niche. I don't think that deck's going to be that good, because I don't think there's enough big minions that win you the game. But this actually might be niche in that deck, depending if that deck is playable. Okay, Enthusiastic Banker. 3 mana, 2/3 neutral minion. At the end of your turn, store a card from your deck. And Death Rattle, add the stored cards to your hand. So it's pseudo draw when it dies. This is interesting. It's kind of like 3 mana, 2/3 draw at least 1 card, but it has to die for you to draw it. Now if this gets silenced, you lose the cards, but like meh. This is interesting. I'm not sure how to evaluate this. Store a card. I'm assuming that means that it pulls a card from your deck and it's stored in the banker, and then when it dies, you get it added to your hand. Now it pulls it from the, I'm assuming it pulls it from your deck, so it's not a copy. It actually physically takes a card from your deck and puts it in the minion, and then when the minion blows up, it's like a banker pinata. Silence, I don't think will be that common. This might be playable. I think with the pushing of quests and stuff, it's important to draw cards to complete them faster, and this is a way to do it. So I don't think this is insane, but this might be one of, like, neutral card draw is decent. So I think this is okay. Cool. All right, I'm excited to try out some stuff. So that's the end of the review. This one's gonna be a bit longer, but hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if there's some decks that you guys are interested in seeing. We'll be shipping out some videos on what you guys can play as soon as the expansion drops. Like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, see you next time. Have fun with the expansion.